Hello, Scott Shortmeyer with the Rest and Recovery Podcast. We are here in Boston at the Biohacking Congress, and with me is Rob Besner, founder and co-founder.
Well, I'm co-founder
of Therasage. Great to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
How's the conference going for you so far?
Oh, this is an amazing event. Super energized. The people are really interested to learn, about what is the next innovation.
Yeah.
That's all about optimal health. And they just want to look at what is out there, what's being used, and also how to use what technology they do have to get the optimal result.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's really is about the optimal result, right? And that personalized approach. And Therasage is, to me, one of those great options. I learned about you at this event back in October of last year. And personal anecdote, I'm not selling the things he is, but great unit. My whole family uses it now, and I've seen the benefits of red light, which kind of leads into the conversation. What are the benefits of infrared sauna and red light?
Okay. Well, first off, thank you. And it's always nice to talk to someone that actually has one of our devices, because you can actually speak from the heart.
Yeah.
And that's what we prefer, because all of our devices are Class 2 medical, listed with FDA. So we've gone through a lot of testing and so forth to make sure that the materials are free of any kind of toxicants. No volatile compounds, no VOCs come out of it.
Okay.
Also, they're electrically tested so that there is no EMF. And now we're actually improving the way we do our technology, so we actually protect you from ELF, which is most people don't know about.
Yeah, that's a new one to me.
Extreme low frequencies.
Okay.
And those are the ones that are called like dirty electricity.
Okay.
And actually affect your body voltage. And so a lot of our research now is geared towards maintaining the integrity of our body electric.
Okay.
And we're noticing that light energy is part of the equation. And actually the stuff that we do is taking an extraction of sunlight.
Okay.
And we put it into a format that's portable. It's relatively inexpensive as you compare it to medical devices, right?
Yeah.
And certainly for all the things that our technology does to improve your health or maintain your health, it's way, way less expensive than it would be if you got sick and had to pay hospital bills and all that other stuff.
100%.
So.
Yeah, I was having another conversation. I mean, you're going to pay for it at some point, regardless of the dollar denomination, whether it's now or in the future. Better to kind of invest in yourself now, so in the long run, you're not having to pay for it exponentially.
Sure, and you know what else? It's about quality of life.
Yeah.
And we're sort of moving into this malaise where everybody seems to be okay with getting into your 60s or 70s and then losing your memory and losing your health and your ability to breathe, and you can't move around any.
And we just accepted that's what happens at that age.
I'm a guy that I studied longevity about 10, almost 12 years ago. And I was fortunate because I went to one of those blue zones where people live. Average age where I went to was 105 years old.
The average age?
Average age. I met someone that was 123.
Wow.
And it's nothing like you guys would imagine if you're tuning in right now, because basically, they're not playing pickleball and stuff like that, but they're cogent, they're present, they're playing mahjong, and I was in China, and they're playing clipping bonsai trees and just having fun, enjoying their lives.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't that be the way we should be? I think that the nature designed us to live longer than we're living now.
Yeah.
And have a quality of life that really is, almost, wholesome and vital to the last breath.
Yeah.
And
vitality.
And that's the direction that I'm taking our company and the devices and the integration of our health sciences. It's not enough just to have a good device. It's how do you use it to really get the most benefit.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the practical use of it and getting that benefit from it. So around infrared, what are some of those benefits that I have experienced and others can through the device?
Sure. Well, the most obvious one is detoxification. And a lot of people come to sauna particularly. We make two main devices that deliver a platform to deliver the infrared, full spectrum infrared.
Okay.
One is the infrared sauna, that's the one you're referencing, and basically you're bathing in these frequencies that are extraction of sun energy. And when I say full spectrum, the definition is that it has the near, mid, and far frequencies. And for anybody just tuning in now, basically if you went and Googled infrared saunas or infrared technology, you'd see a big divergence between near frequencies and far frequencies. It gets pretty confusing, frankly. What we did was we just took sort of a more holistic, natural approach. If nature and the playbook of nature that seems to have worked for billions of years was good enough for them, it's good enough for us. And frankly, with infrared technology, basically your body absorbs and takes what it needs. And so imagine trying to form a word. Word takes letters to form it. If your body was deficient, and let's say we just take the word, name the word. You name the word.
Ball.
Okay, so ball's got 4 letters in it, right? And if you didn't have those letters in your alphabet, then you couldn't form that word.
Okay.
And so you couldn't communicate that word ball to me.
Right.
Because I know what a ball is, you know what a ball is, right? And so when in our approach, we give you all the letters of the alphabet, but we don't know which ones your body needs. Your body takes what it needs, and then the other ones, they just sort of cascade away. You can't get too much infrared frequencies or too much of our technology. But if I'm not offering the full menu or the full alphabet, if I'm just sort of dissecting it and just calling it, oh, you just need near or you just need far, then I believe for you, not knowing what your body is deficient, you even not knowing, that you may not get all that you need. And
so just so I'm clear, so by enabling the full menu, my body's going to determine which ones it's going to pull on the need and close that gap.
Sure. And there's lots of ways it expresses itself.
Sure.
I study nature, I study ancient cultures and see what things worked for them. And so something really simple. We have some little animals in our house, and generally we have a little puppy, or she's full grown, but she's 5 pounds, so she's eternally a puppy. Anyway, she lays on her bed, and in the morning, the first thing I do is I open up the shades. And in the morning, the first thing that Jasmine does is she kind of waltzes over to the glass door. I live in South Florida, and she just sort of does one of these things, rolls around, and it's not stretching. She's just getting into the sunlight and absorbing those frequencies. I didn't teach her how to do that. She did that naturally.
Right.
I didn't know what frequencies she needed. She doesn't even know that. But she knows she's gravitating to the natural effect that sunlight has on our bodies. And that's what we're trying to bring into everybody's home in the devices that we make, the healing properties of sunlight. And I live in South Florida, and people are afraid sunlight's going to cause skin cancer and all that stuff. And not from these rays. That's generally the UV spectrum. And if you overdo the UV spectrum, in fact, in nature, if you think about it, a cow is on the field all day, right? So they're getting a whole lot of UV, and they're also getting a whole lot of infrared frequencies. So in nature, there's a balance, and the balance is if you overexpose to UV light, then that's the nurturing frequencies, then you actually get healed by the infrared. So we just focused on the healing energies because we're finding that most of us need that.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point around what you've created is working with the body and, like you said, some of the natural occurrences in life where it seems certain medical interventions don't exactly work with. They kind of just hit the body and take care of what it needs to take care of, but there's oftentimes a bit of a negative ripple effect or unintended consequences.
Sure, and part of that has to do with the sort of reductionism type psychology of the Western approach to medicine, where they want to isolate the micro mechanism that's causing it. And they kind of get lost, they don't lose the forest. They're just focusing on that one little twig or tree. And I think for our approach, it's more holistic. We believe the body is a series of systems that are integrated, they talk to one another, and so we're just giving you a piece of nature back and making it convenient because, with our busy lifestyles, most of us can't be in the sun, direct sunlight, with enough skin present at the right time to get the frequencies that we're delivering to your home.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into my next question. Modern technology is wonderful. We're able to do this. have these events, meet, even probably create some of your products. But we have also some unintended consequence in modern technology. You kind of mentioned one of them and maybe unpack that as ELF, which I'd not heard of. I've heard of EMF, but maybe just talk to that a little bit.
Okay. Well, this, in terms of being a device developer, I became acutely aware, this was close to 20 years ago, that there's a challenge with electromagnetic fields. And an electromagnetic field is a man-made frequency. So there are lots of energy fields in the world.
Yep.
But then, back then, now I'm going 20 years ago, I thought to myself, well, here I am, I'm developing this really unique device and delivery system that captures full spectrum infrared, but you plug it into a wall. So at the same time that I'm generating nature's frequencies, I'm also generating man-made frequencies,
sure,
which sort of almost cancel one another out. And so frankly, back then, 20 years ago, I didn't know what the conflict was. I didn't know how your body would resolve that conflict.
Okay.
But what I did think was, if I could figure out a way to remediate and get the EMF part of the equation off the table, then I'm delivering full spectrum infrared frequencies, nature's joy to your body without any consequence. And so not thinking that the cell phone business would blow up and Tesla cars and every wireless everything, right?
Right.
My wife bought a coffee pot that's wireless now that talks to my network,
yeah,
that tells me what time to percolate my coffee in the morning. Now really? I get it, because
yeah,
they're selling products. But we're talking about health now.
Yeah.
And the effect of all these man-made frequencies on the body is just another stressor in an already kind of overstressed environment. So we've got chemtrails, we've got glyphosate in our water, food, and air. With all that stress coming into our body, you have one more, which is exogenous frequencies. No wonder why the health trends are as bad as they are, or why people can't recover as fast. Stuff like that.
And then couple that with, to your point, on the natural sunlight that we would normally be getting, but we're inside so often in our modern societies. Again, blessings and curses on both sides of it, right? But acknowledging those exist so you can at least hedge on those.
Yeah, and so we back then in the day, 20 years ago, we became astute at understanding how to remediate, basically block and shield infrared frequencies. That wasn't good enough for me, because I'm always a step behind, meaning you come out with a 3G network and I integrate my technology in it, and now you remediate. As soon as I get that into your home, they're coming out with 4G,
right,
then 5G. And right now, even 5G isn't completely integrated yet, but the military are using 7 and 10G on the same cell phone towers. So we are bombarded with these exogenous frequencies that are affecting us.
Yeah.
And we're kind of grown up, but your kids that are younger, and until the age of 20, your neural pathways aren't completely fitted. They're not matching up.
Right.
And so when you take a child and you put them into the same environment, now their brain cells are trying to connect the dots, but they're getting misdirected or not connecting at all, which could explain why the autism rates are so high in kids, or why there are so many like ADD and ADHD and so forth. It could have a lot to do with all these frequencies, because the kids aren't even carrying books anymore, they're carrying tablets, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed this when we started traveling, doing a lot of these kind of medical conferences, that it used to be that there was a nanny that kept the kids if you were able to go away on weekend. I'd watch the people in the airports, right?
Right.
Now there's no nannies anymore. The kids, these 1 and 2-year-olds, are holding tablets.
Yeah.
Well, that might be good for entertainment and for babysitting and whatever, but certainly not good for neuroplasticity and the things we're talking about, overall health.
Right.
Because the companies that make these devices don't care about the health of the person buying it. They just care about the sale.
Right.
Or having the faster, gaming
Speed.
device. Exactly.
Right.
So we blocked and shielded pretty effectively, but it was bothering me, frankly. I have to be honest about it. And so I just recently, in the last 18 months, discovered a new approach, or an additional approach, and it's called harmonizing.
Okay.
And now what I'm doing is I'm bringing healthy frequencies into the mix. So I'm bringing them into the sauna particularly, or into the technology we make. And you have that on your body, or you have it on your phone, or you have it on your laptop.
Okay.
And it kind of neutralizes the effects of the exogenous frequencies, but more importantly, it builds up your body field, your shield to protect yourself.
Okay.
From all these frequencies.
So you're not having to drain, and it's able to your body's able to regenerate and recover.
Yes. Yep. It's almost like you're Captain America now with holding that big shield in front of you. So no matter whether it's 7G, 10G, a lot of frequencies, whatever you're, like sometimes you can be in a room of with 5 or 6 computers, right?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I think that's the sort of the trifecta, having both the shielding, blocking, and the holograms that we do with our harmonization technology. That's really the winning formulation.
And it seems as that could be the potential to really hedge, to your point, on modern society and being able to, with us working in closed environments, like this room itself is no windows. Somebody's working in here, so you're not getting the natural light, even if it's through a window. You can kind of hedge on those types of things.
Sure, exactly. The lighting, the heating, all these different man-made comforts, although they have great benefits to it,
absolutely,
there's also a health. And you said that earlier, to your point. You said, you take a medication or you take a supplement for a particular reason, but there's also the little label that they say, oh, but by the way, it could have this or could have that.
Yeah.
And what we're looking to do is basically bring nature into your home. And for the people that can't do it because it's inconvenient, we make it affordable, we make it portable, and we just make it very easy to use.
I think that's a key barrier to entry for folks who, we are at a Biohacking Congress event, so there's folks that are pretty bought in with the idea of improving one's health, but there's a big contingency out there that the other half of the world that is metabolically dysfunctional and having challenges. We saw that the last couple of years that need to be addressed.
Sure.
And this seems like a way to kind of get in there, where it lowers that barrier to entry from ease of use to even functional technology.
But more importantly, it's the education, which is why I love sitting with you and with your community, because most of the people out there are not aware of this, that it even exists, and then after that, the full benefits of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's important for me as an educator, not just a device developer, to get that word out. And so I love doing these interviews. I love talking to your community. We're very available. We have free coaching services, so when you buy devices from us, which, by the way, you haven't taken advantage of, I have to tell you. So
I'm setting up an appointment after this.
Yeah, you just have to make a calendar appointment on our website, and then you talk to one of my team. I head up that little team of health coaches.
Yeah.
And basically, we kind of find out what it is that are your interests or your goals, and then we show you how to use our devices to achieve those goals.
So you can kind of come up with some prescriptive protocols, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got ones for sleep, for weight loss, for stress management, for detoxification, for people that are the weekend warriors that want to recover faster from a workout.
Yeah.
So we have all of that stuff in place. See what you're missing, guy?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, jump on board.
I didn't even know that. Now I learned something new. Well, Robby, I appreciate the mission you have, and I think the other aspect is you have a business. It's important to make a living, but you've made it in such a way that it's accessible economically. Maybe go to all the way back, Genesis 1:1, I'll call it, to the origination story of, like, what was it that drove you to go down this path?
I mean, get involved in, so
creating Therasage.
It's an interesting story. My daughter, my oldest child, she contracted Lyme disease in her early teens, like 12 years old or so. And when she got sick, I was managing another part of our business, family business, and I have a healthcare background, medical background. So I somewhat retired myself from that and just became my daughter's nurse and healthcare coach in a sense.
Okay.
We hired Lyme literate doctors, but I'm going back 25 years now. And back then, Lyme wasn't quite as prevalent as it is now.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as many Lyme literate practitioners available.
Okay.
But we sought and found what we think and still is the top-notch guy of the crew. And he managed my daughter's healthcare, the best he could. And that meant using invasive antibiotics and different things, which were, they, like we said earlier, they've got good parts and they've got bad parts.
Right.
Anyway, so then I started to realize, that doctor, we live in South Florida, and that doctor was actually in East Hampton, New York. So we would fly up to New York every 6 weeks and spend an hour or so with the doctor. I didn't want my daughter's memory of her adolescence and childhood to be around her diagnosis or her health challenge.
Right.
So because we were in New York, and I'm from New York, we'd go up to the city, we'd take out a show, have a good dinner, and then, oh, by the way, let's go to the doctor for an hour.
Right.
Okay, so that's the memory I wanted in terms of framing. What we discovered quickly in the dynamic was that the doctor or the practitioner is only spending maybe 1% of their time with that patient, but the 99% is either with the family and or with the patient managing their health care, either on, in that local area, or in our case, we were remote. So that made me think, I need to come up with solutions that we can manage my daughter's, or we can help her manage her own health care remotely.
Right.
And that was kind of the concept behind it. Now, when I looked at my daughter's health challenges, she had high levels of toxicity, inflammation, and body pain. She had some cognitive challenges too. And so when I unpacked some of that stuff, I focused on toxicity. I discovered, or I looked at and researched the most efficient ways to detox.
Okay.
And then I discovered that there are frequencies of sunlight that mobilize all the toxins in your body. Oh my God. So then I thought, well, now I've got it, I found it. But at that moment in time, there weren't any, the only people that were using infrared technology were sports medicine doctors that were using it to help players lower pain thresholds and recover from injuries faster.
Sure.
So that interested me. And so I actually took about 6 weeks off. I went over to China, and I interviewed more than 50 different factories to start developing some devices for our own use.
Oh, wow.
And that was kind of the genesis of our company. And that the doctors that we're seeing, by that time my daughter actually had a team of doctors. The guy in New York, they didn't have telemedicine then like we have today.
Sure.
So we had to have a corresponding doctor down in Florida that spoke to the doctor in New York to take orders, and blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. Anyway, so the whole team saw that my daughter was doing so well with using these different techniques and devices that they asked for us to start making them for their practices, because at that point they were almost 100% Lyme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that really was the genesis of our company, how we got started.
That's an amazing story, and it's like the fact that it's not just helped your daughter during her time, but able to kind of help others in the process.
Yeah, and we're completely dedicated to helping people. Certainly Lyme and Lyme adolescence is a big part of it, but holistically, the stuff that we're doing really is helping everybody.
Yeah.
And the world that we're living now is filled with chemtrails and toxicants and glyphosate in our water, food, and air that's making every part of our body leak inside.
Yeah.
The amount of toxicity and inflammation and the charts and the trends of chronic disease are so steep.
Yeah.
In the wrong direction.
Upstream.
Yeah. Plus, what's really bad, frankly, is that the ages of the people that are getting sick are coming down. So we have skyrocketing bad trends in healthcare and deceleration or shorter time frames in people getting sick.
Right.
So we have,
it's happening at a younger and younger age.
Yeah, we have women in clinic that are 14 showing signs of sterility, and guys at 18 showing signs of low testosterone.
Yeah.
That's not genetic. That's epigenetic. That's the environment affecting people's genetics. And we have to do something. I feel responsible because I have my thumb on the pulse of technology that I know that can correct this. And so it's not in my hands anymore. It's a divine design.
Yeah.
I'm just a vessel bringing these technologies to the public so that they can help heal themselves.
Well, I appreciate the mission, what you've done so far, and kind of to your point, there's still work to be done, but with you around, I'm sure plenty of the work will get done. So thank you so much for your time, insights, and your passion for what you do.
Okay, love it.
Thanks all for joining us.
Yes.